from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
Welcome back. A new audit of Oregon's Measure 110. That's the experiment that decriminalized possession of hard drugs found it's falling far short of its goals. You may remember state lawmakers already repealed significant parts of this, including decriminalization. Blair Best takes a closer look.
Oregon's Measure 110 has been highly criticized since it passed by voters in 2020. On Wednesday, a new audit released by the Oregon Secretary of State's office found overall it's not reaching its goals. Here's Secretary of State Tobias Reed.
We found a lack of consistency, a lack of data, a lack of long-term planning.
The audit gave the Oregon Health Authority 6 recommendations, including building a roadmap with timelines and accountability, requiring all providers who get money from Measure 110 to regularly report data, and come up with a better way to measure progress.
The biggest thing, I think, is the question of urgency. This is an emergency for the state. People are dying. Businesses are suffering. People don't feel safe.
The Oregon Health Authority accepted half of the recommendations.
But the disagreement really comes with the ability to implement. So we don't want to make false promises that we can't follow through on. And
Abby Stamp at OHA says comparing data from the start of the program to now isn't currently possible.
Unfortunately, the data that are available during the time period that we would be doing the baseline analysis from approximately 2019 to 2023 don't provide a standard that our analytic subject matter experts would feel comfortable establishing baseline for.
The audit says without action by OHA to address governance, integration, and accountability, the program has little to no chance to fully deliver on its promise to help Oregonians struggling with addiction. Another challenge, the number of times state lawmakers made changes to Measure 110.
If you're changing direction constantly, it's hard to get where you're trying to go. And I think this is an example of that.
And it would be really fantastic to have the opportunity to be able to stay the course, to firmly plant a North Star in the sky and to head in that direction.
In a statement responding to the audit, House Republican leader Lucetta Elmer said Measure 110 was sold as a compassionate public health approach. Instead, it became a system with no clear direction, no meaningful accountability, and no urgency, even as overdose deaths continued to rise. This was not a failure of compassion, it was a failure of leadership.
Measure 110 was a label. It carried a really negative and sometimes a false negative narrative, being blamed for overdoses and the fentanyl epidemic. And lots of research has disproved that. And I see a pathway of opportunity ahead. I've got a really strong team of folks and incredibly dedicated providers, and we've got declining revenue ahead of us and more tumultuous waters to navigate together. But we know these services do good for people in need.
Blair Best, KGW News.
Still ahead, it is not even Christmas, but Times Square is already counting down to a brand new year. Up next, the big pieces, 4 of them, of the annual celebration that just arrived.
KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+.
All right, check this out. The countdown is on in New York's Times Square. That says the new numbers 202 and 6. I bet they reused some of those, right? Arrived ahead of the annual ball drop. They are 7 feet tall, with folks able to check them out over the next week or so before they are hoisted up to the top of the building there. Those kitschy sunglasses that make their way out every year. If you're wondering about the iconic ball well that arrived last month, organizers say it's going to be the largest one yet. I don't know how it's going to get any bigger, right? Well, stick around on streaming, because with the Kraken taking on the Calgary Flames on KGW, you have another full hour of weather impact coverage and your headlines right here on KGW+. In the meantime, let's check out the view from our Rose City sky camera. You know what? At least you can see the skyline. It's not fogged in, right? In the meantime, your top stories are coming up in just 2 minutes.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW. KGW Plus, coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Want extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
With the rain coming down the way it is, it certainly could. So I think it's always better to be over-prepared than under-prepared.
First at 6, a KGW weather impact alert as rain pours, rivers rise, and flood concerns take center stage. Let's give you a live look from our Wells Fargo sky camera over downtown Portland. 57 degrees, a little balmy, but dark and raining, something you expect to see a lot of over the next few hours. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. We'll get to your update on the forecast in just a moment, but our team coverage begins with Jake Holter live in Estacada, not far from the Clackamas River, which is now under a flood warning. Jake, what are you seeing right now?
Yeah, so David, sandbags are the name of the game here in Estacada as low-lying residents prepare for likely floodwaters. We spoke with one man who says he's so nervous as his home sits right on the riverbank. A rushing Clackamas River means a truck bed full of sandbags for Rob Hudson.
I did 25 bags yesterday, and I'm back here, probably going to do another 25 today.
Hudson and his son's homes both on Paradise Road, which sits right on the Clackamas River. With his son out of town, Hudson is stepping in to try his best to waterproof the house.
Try to get all of his doors, covered up with sandbags and things, because everybody who's lived there for a time says that this flood level will get to his house. So At about 23 feet, it'll come above these stairs.
Hudson took us down to he and his son's properties to show us how it floods.
Well, at about 18 feet, it goes to the base of those stairs. 20 feet, even though, that's way more than 2 feet, just the amount of water that's in the river brings it up way higher than that here. So 2 feet does not equal 2 feet.
The National Weather Service predicts the Clackamas River will reach more than 25 feet overnight or into Friday morning, places the river in the major flood category. Hudson's new house built on stilts be up to code since it's at such a flood risk, but Hudson says he still has flood prep to do.
We have a carport, trying to figure out places to put our cars, moving things out of the yard, all that sort of stuff, and making sure we have water and things in case we lose electricity or, anything like that.
There's a couple areas. We know at least one area is probably going to get a road covered with water.
Estacada City Manager Melanie Wagner says the city of Estacada is not in the major flood risk like the spots along the river northwest of town, but they are monitoring the situation closely.
With the rain coming down the way it is, it certainly could. So I think it's always better to be over-prepared than under-prepared.
And crews were out clearing storm drains yesterday, and also signs like this that say high water. Actually, you can see right now cars and vans driving through where it's flooded right here on Broadway between Liberty and 10th. This is one of those spots that historically is flood prone in Estacada, so that's why those signs are there. Back to you.
All right, Jake Holter keeping an eye on things in Estacada. Thanks, Jake. I want to head to Portland now, where just like Clackamas, there are growing concerns along Johnson Creek. NOAA forecasting parts particularly near Butte and Sycamore. The area will reach moderate to major flood stages in the coming hours, likely peaking late this evening. Right now, the gauges show that creek is steadily climbing there, urging all residents who live anywhere near it to watch for fast rising waters. And just like in Estacada, that's a warning the people along the creek are paying attention to.
Definitely flooding, some of it getting up to people's houses and things like that. So, if we can help out to prevent that, that's what we're here for. So,
City of Portland also providing free sandbag filling stations at both Lentz Park and Gabriel Park. Team coverage continuing now with Celine Stevens. Celine, it has been a heck of a day. It is not over yet. The big question, when will things finally start to calm down, at least in terms of the rain?
David, good news is that in the next few hours. So we saw consistent rainfall today, but like I said, by early morning Friday, we're going to see things really start to change, which is good news given everything we've been going through. Looking at our sky camera at the Oregon Zoo right now, 55 degrees. Looks like it's not stopping anybody from seeing the zoo lights, but again, 55 degrees. The winds are nice and calm. It just is very wet out there. And looking at our radar, we've been seeing again that consistent rainfall all day long. That's really all there's been to it. We've been seeing the moderate to heavy rainfall. And again, we'll finally get to see a little bit of a break in just the next few hours. But looking at all the watches and warnings that we've been dealing with, we of course have the flood watch basically from the coast to the mountains, and of course including here in Portland as will last through the weekend, even when the rain is no longer as intense as what we saw. We're also dealing with wind warnings along the coast, and even here we're going to still be seeing those stronger gusts this evening, and the Cascades will also have a winter storm warning that to affect tomorrow morning, as well as a winter weather advisory. So just so much going on for the next 24 hours or so, but the worst of it really is today, I should say, especially from what we saw earlier. Looking at our forecast, we're going to hold on to those stronger rain for the next few hours, and then by 2 a.m. we'll see things really start to calm down. We're still dealing with cloudy conditions. It'll still be wet outside, of course, but we're not going to have that consistent heavy rainfall anymore. And as we get into our Friday, we're going to see more spotty showers. So there will definitely be rain, but it will not be the widespread downpour that we saw all day today. And as we get into our weekend, it's also lining up to be pretty wet as well. But again, it will not be to the atmospheric river level. Looking at our rainfall totals today, Portland hitting over 1.5 inches at the airport. It's at that mark, I should say. It looks like 1.25 inches in Vancouver. Troutdale are 1.5 inches, so lots and lots of rain. Along the coast, places like Astoria hit 1 inch, and Tillamook's not showing up on the map, but they hit 4 inches of rain today. So lots of moisture. We'll have more in a bit.
Yeah, some incredible numbers, all things considered. Thanks, Celine. Appreciate you keeping an eye on that. Well, at this hour, we should check on power outages because thousands are still in the dark. PG reporting more than 10,000. It's scattered across the metro. It has 150 crews in the field. Power has been restored to 95% of customers who lost power. That was, 24, 36 hours ago. Pacific Power, though, reporting nearly 14,000 customers do not have power. The majority of those brand new in the Lincoln City area. Utility crews and contractors working now in the heavy rain to get the lights back on for everyone. Evan Watson has more from Northwest Portland.
I'm across the street from the French International School of Oregon, where some students got a surprise on Thursday morning. Classes were canceled because the middle school there was out of power after a tree fell down. Ultimately, the wind and the rain still concerns moving forward. Generators are up and running as some families deal with sporadic power outages. In southwest Portland, line crews work to restore power lines damaged by fallen trees. And the French International School of Oregon in northwest Portland canceled classes Thursday for a couple hundred middle schoolers. The middle school building lost power overnight.
Just this one building, and the tree that fell was over there near the middle school parking lot.
The rest of the campus was able to stay online.
We're so glad that our other kids are here on campus and still able to come to class today, and super thankful for PG for jumping on top of it.
Portland General Electric spokesman John Farmer says PG crews and contractors already restored power to 100,000 customers.
This is one of those all hands on deck situations where we've been out all night and we're going to stay out until everyone is back up and running.
Outages across all power companies are significantly down from Wednesday morning. The wind threat is diminishing, with crews mostly working on isolated outages, but ready for any changes.
So we are monitoring the atmospheric river, the high winds, the system that's coming our way. We're monitoring it. We are ready for it.
But when it comes to canceling school just days before winter break,
Suboptimal for sure, but I'm sure the kids were excited.
Marianne Wilburn says the French International School knows it's just that time of year.
'Tis the season, so I mean, up here especially, the weather is really different up here on the hill. We're at like 1,000 feet, so it can be snowing up here and not snowing in the rest of town. So we're prepared for things like this. We have a great facilities team, and we have safety measures put in place so that we can make sure that we keep everybody safe and protected.
Evan Watson, KGW News.
And stay with us as we follow the impacts of the latest atmospheric river on our region. You can find the updates anytime right here on KGW Plus and also on our website. That's kgw.com. Developing this evening, tragedy in North Carolina where a racing icon who grew up in Clark County has now been killed in a plane crash. Authorities say a jet carrying retired NASCAR race driver Greg Biffle and his family crashed, killing a total of 7 people. Officials and witnesses say the Cessna business jet burst into flames while trying to land in Statesville. It's about 45 miles north of Charlotte. Flight records show the plane was registered to a company run by Biffle, who graduated from Camas High. He was also a Northwest Regional Stock Car champion. We'll have local reaction tonight on KGW News at 11. Greg Biffle was 55 years old. In your headlines tonight, 2 Romanian nationals authorities say are in the country illegally are now facing federal charges accused of planning to steal more than $160,000 in food benefits. Prosecutors say the pair used stolen EBT card numbers and pins and even installed skimming devices at grocery stores across Oregon and the West Coast. A jury indicted them on 26 counts, including identity theft and fraud. Both men pleaded not guilty in federal court and remain in jail. Despite a string of high-profile layoffs, the Oregon Employment Department says the state's job market is on track to grow. New projections show 6% gains over the next decade, or about 141,000 jobs. Healthcare, construction, and professional services lead the way. State officials say even as employment ticks up, sitting now at 5.2% in Oregon, demand for workers is growing. In health headlines, flu cases are starting to rise across the Northwest, so doctors say this year actually looks fairly typical. And Oregon health experts warn we have not yet hit the peak, meaning there is still time to get the shot. Doctors say rates of vaccinations have actually dropped since the pandemic and say that is concerning since more people getting the flu shot means essentially less spread. For example, last season we saw more children getting sick than in years past.
One of the things that we've seen is more kids getting sick than did historically, which obviously is of grave concern. And so, again, kids have generally lower immunity, which is why if more of us are protecting ourselves, we are also protecting them.
OHA says a flu shot now can give your body enough time to build a protection before going to crowded places like airports, shopping centers, or family gatherings. And The federal government will now block hospitals and doctors from providing gender-affirming care to transgender children. Dr. Oz, who heads the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, made that announcement today. Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr. calling gender-affirming care, quote, malpractice, end quote. Professional medical groups do not recommend surgery for children as part of this care, and research shows surgeries, though, are rare for teenagers. Well, our weather impact coverage continues in just 2 minutes with a look at significant damage to a historic hangar.
Is letting rain in. We have cleared out some of the area.
Why there is a lingering risk and why repairs will likely have to wait. And how is the atmospheric river on the heels of the windstorm impacting your neighborhood? We're going to share some of the photos you've sent in. Keep them coming and remind you how to keep us posted. Stay with us.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Day, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming, how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
Well, thanks for sticking with us. We so appreciate you because our inbox is filling up with photos and videos from you, KGW viewers, showing us what it looks like where you live. We're going to start in La Center. Jeannie sending us these photos of a tree literally in her kitchen. She says it spooked the dog, but otherwise everyone made it out okay. I'm glad to hear, Jeannie, that everyone's all right. A similar situation in Corvallis for Sandy, saying a tree just about crushed an RV with another one crashing into her home. Yuck. She says, glad no one was hurt. Appreciate that, Sandy. Take at this mess also in Welch's. Sam sent us photos of debris scattered across Highway 26. Roadway is now reopened, obviously. Sam, really appreciate you reaching out. We want to see, of course, what it looks like where you live or work. Text us photos or video anytime. The number is 503-226-5088. Include your name and the location. Please do not put yourself in harm's way just for a photo op. Let's head to the coast because meanwhile in Tillamook, gusty winds tore off part of the roof of a historic hangar, closing the Air Museum there indefinitely. Devin Haskins went to take a closer look.
The Port of Tillamook Bay, who manages the hangar here at the Tillamook Air Museum, says it's too dangerous to get up top to assess the damage. Right now, there is a gaping hole up there left from the windstorm from earlier this week. High winds tearing a hole in the roof of Hangar B at the Port of Tillamook Bay early Wednesday morning. A gaping hole 160 to 180 feet long.
And it's probably 30 feet wide at the widest part. It is letting rain in. We have cleared out some of the area.
Michelle Bradley is the GM for the port. She says while nothing was damaged inside and no one was injured, the concern remains for what's still hanging from the roof.
The outside roof blew off. It just folded over. So now it's hanging down, which creates an even more a bigger safety issue on the outside. So we don't know how to get that piece down, and that's what we're trying to evaluate right now.
This isn't just any building. It's a historic building built in the 1940s when the U.S. was at war.
It's 83, almost 83 years old. The Navy built it in World War II.
Bradley says the port has explored rehabbing the hangar in the past, but says it's complicated and expensive.
There's a lot. There's a lot of moving parts to it. It's on the National Register, so you have to have historic considerations. The permitting, it already has a few layers of roof, so the roof rules may be different.
As Tillamook continues to get hammered with rain, Port says any fix to one of the few blimp hangars left in the country will need to wait.
There's nothing we can do, especially if we're expecting more 55-mile-an-hour gusts, because it might take that piece off.
The port says it'll be about another week before they can safely get up there to assess the damage. In Tillamook, I'm Devin Haskins, KGW News.
Got to say, I really appreciate the efforts of all our reporters out there in the wind and the rain, bringing people the updates, right?
100%. I've been there, so
Me too.
I know. But yeah, luckily, the good news is that tomorrow won't be as intense as today.
A bit of a break. I guess we can't really call it a break, you could say. Just not this intensity.
Exactly. Right? We'll still see some rain, just not a downpour like we've seen. But let's go ahead and take a look at our sky camera at Timberline Lodge right now, and you see it's raining over there, of course. They do have some snowfall, but again, now getting all this rain on top of the snow, so a lot of that will also melt. But they will be seeing a little bit more snow night into Saturday, actually, like government camp under a winter weather advisory. Starting tomorrow, they could see up to a foot of snow. So we're kind of going back and forth between the rain, the snow, and then more rain. But 40 degrees over there. It's coming out of the west at 25, but gusts almost up to 50 miles per hour. Looking right now at our sky camera at the Chinookwan's Casino in Lincoln City, a little bit of an eerie sight there, 55 degrees. Looks like winds coming out of the south at 12 miles per hour, gusts up to 47. So pretty rainy no matter where you go at this hour, but we're almost through the worst of this at this point. So here's what we're looking at. We have the heavy rain. The flood risk continues through the weekend, even though the rain is going to taper off. We even get to early Friday morning. We're still going to hold on to the risk, especially due to just this extra saturated soil. Those rivers are already high from the atmospheric river we saw last week. So again, lots of this still continue to look out for even once the rain dies down. Gusty winds continue tonight. We still have that high wind warning in effect along the coast for at least 1 more hour, although of course that could potentially be extended. But as of right now, that expires at 7 p.m. But we're still going to be seeing gusts getting up to 60 miles per hour. At the coast metro area, we were seeing a wind advisory, gusts getting up to 45 miles per hour tonight. So it's important to stay safe. Do not drive through the floodwater around, don't drown, and avoid those downed power lines. And so looking at our satellite right now, over the last few hours, again, we've just really been seeing that consistent fall. Portland got a little tiny break, it looks like, over the last couple of hours, and then now that has filled that spot yet again. We're going to continue to see that again over the next few hours until around midnight. That's when things are going to start to shift. So looking at rainfall totals for today, we hit 1.5 inches of rain in the Portland area. That's a lot of rain in one day. About 1.25 inches in Vancouver, a little over 1.5 inches in Troutdale, Scappoose around almost 1.5 inches as well. So 1.5 inches of rain is a lot of rain. And again, we saw that in one day. Astoria hit 1 inch. Tillamook, again, not popping up on the map, but they saw 4 inches of rain today. So lots and lots of rain, and it will continue into tomorrow again, just to not to this degree. Looking at our 3-day forecast, we're still under a weather impact alert though for tomorrow, despite the rain not being as heavy, because again, we will still see rain, and of course flooding impacts will still be there 100% tomorrow and even the weekend. 47 degrees is the forecasted high for Friday. Saturday get 48, some spotty showers, maybe even a potential for a little bit of sun. As we get into Sunday, 49 degrees for the high, and we'll still be holding on to the rain at point. So looking at our futurecast, we're going to see that rain just continue through the next few hours. We get to around 2:30 in the morning, and this is where we're seeing our break. We're still dealing with the cloud bridge, but there's no rain right here. It's pushed off to the east, it looks like. At this point, we're seeing the snow in the mountains. We get into Friday afternoon, and it'll be much of the same thing. We'll have the spotty rain at that point. So we'll be seeing the rain, then we'll get a little bit of a break, and then we'll have more rainfall as well. We'll mainly see things really start to taper off once we get towards evening. So on this model, this shows a little bit more rain than the previous model on tomorrow, but still it will not be a complete downpour as what we saw today. We get into the rest of Friday, and like I said, by Friday evening, that's for sure when we're going to start to see things really just lessen up, and we're going to make that official turn for the better. That's still seeing the snow in the Cascades, which is a good thing. And then as we get into Saturday, Sunday, we're dealing with more rain, but it will be the typical rain that we're used to this time of year and not atmospheric river level rain. So looking as we get further on into Christmas as well, it looks like we're also going to have a little bit of a damp Christmas. But looking at our forecasted rainfall for the rest of tonight, as we get into 1 a.m. Friday, it looks like we could tack on over half an inch, almost 1/10 of an inch of rain. There's still a potential to gather that much in the next few hours. Hood almost at 2 inches, so lots and lots of rain. But again, there's almost an end in sight. Looking at our 7-day, again, weather impact alert day tomorrow. Highs in the upper 40s. We get to the weekend and we're still dealing with rain, but at that point it's really just showers, and then it's a wet following week. And Christmas morning right now, we're a week out. Looks like it'll start dry, but then the rain will come by Christmas.
Just a week away. Week's moving fast. The month's moving fast.
Sure is.
Year's almost over. All right. Stick around because you mentioned the snow up in Timberline. I guess it's 40 degrees. The rain, I should say, on top of the snow and etc. We're going to see that changeover you mentioned. Ely, Timberline, Ski Bowl, Meadows would be open. Would have around Thanksgiving, but 1 week out from Christmas, we are still waiting for that to happen. Safe to say it's been disappointing not only for skiers and boarders, but resorts and all those local small businesses. Corey Johnson has our update.
Right now, we're at the rest area here at Government Camp where the power is currently out. Residents tell us the power has been out since last night, and it's created some difficulty as we deal with the snowy conditions. Now, again, the power is currently down at the rest area. PGE trucks have pulled in and out of this area, but no change yet to the situation as of this morning. We've also seen quite a few snow trucks make multiple passes at the roadway, cars driving slowly to make sure they make it to their destinations pretty safe this morning. The snowfall measurable this morning as well. We stuck a 5-inch pin in the snow at about 7 a.m. and you can see only the tip of the pin is showing right now. Now, as noon, we're expected to get 6 inches of snowfall. Now, it's not ideal for people who are driving in it, of course, but the snow is definitely a welcome sight for skiers. This has been a slow start to the ski season, which typically opens on November 16th. And because it's been such a slow start, it's had an impact on business here at Timberline as well. This is a similar story to what we saw 2 years ago with the delayed season due to lack of snow. Here at the Mountain Pass, one truck driver heading from Portland to Sun River Bend told us this morning he decided to turn around because of the snowy conditions.
It's been fine until we got about 8 miles down the road and it's just slip and ice and there's like no traffic coming through here. I'd like to make it home tonight, and I don't know if continuing is going to do that. So
now 6 inches of snow is expected to reach this area by noon, and then it's going to turn to rain. But snow levels are set to return again through the end of Christmas as we get into tomorrow. Back to you.
Yeah, we did see that rain change over. By the way, power still out at Government Camp and in Welch's there. Taking Central Oregon, Mount Bachelor got several fresh inches of snow this week. Let's look at the mountain after overnight snow that fell Tuesday into Wednesday. A couple inches there. The ski resort says it is still getting slopes ready for the start of ski season. Snowmaking there underway. Opening day, though, still not set. Fingers crossed there. Well, stay with us. We'll keep a close eye on the impact the weather is having in all of our communities. You can find the latest anytime, of course, here on KGW Plus or on our website, KGW.com, or on the KGW mobile app. We'll be right back.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That pack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. weather impact alert days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Might be the last time we see that this season. You've seen us collect and organize thousands of toys here at KGW. Now we are sending them out to more than 150 local organizations and thousands of children. We would not have been able to line our building, our hallways with these toys, these bikes, these board games if it weren't for you at home. Volunteers were in and out all day despite the rainy weather. All smiles, getting toys ready for families who may have been impacted as well by this severe weather.
So we've been in through this storm, and a lot of our people right now do not have power out there, and they're cutting trees and power lines out of the way. It's quite a ways out at Miss Birkenville.
And a big surprise donation really gave the toy drive a final boost. Alex and Tyler, who gave us a giant donation just yesterday. I love watching this unfold. This is the work of everything you have done, along with our community partners, our sponsors, IQ Credit Union, Zipley Fiber, Fred Meyer, local Toyota dealers. Thank you all, and especially from all of us, a big happy holidays. All right, team coverage of our weather impact alert is ahead. Blair, what's coming up?
Okay, so David, we're heading to the Sandy River Delta, an area that easily floods and where homeless people often camp illegally. And while what we found there was that many camps have been cleared, but there are still people who are living in harm's way. One man telling me he saw his friend's camp get swept down the river.
Yeah, all the stuff was floating down the river, and the dogs were on top of the bed. It's pretty bad out here.
That friend is on higher ground and is okay. Also, we're going to talk about how state officials are responding to the challenges in that particular patch tonight. Much more when our coverage continues right after this.
KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live